Into the realm of the PL-89, into the realm of the higher time, into the realm of the Messiah time. It is simple to sing the tune, match the sun up with the moon. With the sun and before the moon, as per Psalm 72. The two calendars are one, match the moon up with the sun. Yaakov and Esav, Tikkun and Tohu, and with that our work is done. Or to quote the Lubavitcher Rebbe, as someone said that he said, Kalim de Tikkun, or de Tohu beKalim de Tikkun. Lights of chaos in vessels of rectification. That's in short what this calendar is about. Lights of chaos in vessels of rectification. Tikkun and Tohu, as the third verse says, Yaakov and Esav, Tikkun and Tohu, and with that our work is done. Once that's done, then we're in the Geula. So, if you gathered from the song that this has something to do with the calendar, then you gathered something correctly. If you gathered that it's two calendars, a solar and lunar calendar, then that's what it is as well. It's both the Jewish calendar and the non-Jewish calendar together in one. It's the Jewish calendar, the secular or Gregorian calendar in one composite calendar. And this is, if you're looking at it, you might be thinking, like, calendar is 365 days, or if it's a Hebrew calendar, 354 days, but certainly this doesn't seem like it can hold all those days. Well, it can, because this is 90 days. And each of the 90 days, which is a quarter of the year, roughly, whether it's Hebrew or Gregorian, it's about a quarter. Or you can call it 3 months. And every 3 month period is its own set, and it's like its own year. And those 4 years fit into 1 year. So whatever happens in each quarter is replicated in each year, as it were. Now, what kind of a year is it? Here's where the planet Mercury comes involved. It used to be called the Mercury calendar, but I no longer call it the Mercury calendar because of its association with a pagan deity, a Roman pagan deity, so I don't call it the Mercury calendar. But it is based on the planet Mercury, at least as published data presents Mercury as making an orbit every 88 of our Earth days. And 88 days is about 3 months. So this was called the Mercury calendar. I call it the Mercury thought calendar, but I no longer associate it with Mercury, but I call it the gematriatic quantum. It's the gematriatic quantum thought calendar. And basically, there's a sun number and a moon number every day, and those two numbers are added together because of like the song says, as per Psalm 72. If you look in Tehillim, Ayin Bet, the Psalm 72, there's a verse, I think it's verse 5, it says, Im Shemesh V'lifnei Reach Dordorim. Talks about God being with the sun and before the moon many generations. And this theme of the sun and the moon is prevalent in Psalm 72. And 72 talks about a name of the Messiah called Yinon. And the Talmud talks about Yinon, Lifnei Shemesh, Yinon Shemo. His name is Yinon. And so this calendar is based on that. It's about that. And so the idea is the whole process. This came to me many years ago. And if you'd asked me how I conceived of this idea, I wouldn't be able to tell you how. It just sort of plopped in my mind. I just found it there somehow. I was meditating on the calendar. I guess I've always been interested in calendars and time, and numbers to some extent. Numbers themselves as thoughts, not so much mathematics, but then I've gotten more into the mathematical aspect of adding and subtracting numbers and counting and recognizing differences between different sets of numbers and things like that. And so what came to me is that that the whole idea of the sun and the moon is the balance between the Gregorian calendar, which is based on the sun, and the Hebrew calendar, which is based on the moon. It's a solar and lunar calendar, and this is in some way connected to Psalm 72. And it became even more interesting when I learned about, and this calendar is all about these things I'm talking about right now. It's all about, basically, what I heard is that in the year 300 something, before the Hebrew calendar was established, every month there had to be two witnesses, and they would proclaim the new moon, and then the Beit Din, the court would say Mekudash. They would sanctify the moon, and they would establish the Rosh Chodesh and say it's Rosh Chodesh, and send messengers out and say it's the new month, and it's officially announced every month. Month comes from that. MON is like moon, month. Every month they would announce the new moon, and so but then see there were a lot of aggressors. There were a lot of antagonism against Judaism and the Beit Din, and they realized that this is not going to happen. That the added, all the things that are stacked up against this is from inner defectors that were like a lot. And if you retract Rosh Hashanah, there were like the Kutim who tried to mess things up internally, and they put smoke signals at the wrong time, and so you read that about in Tractate Rosh Hashanah, and from the outside, from within and without, there were attackers against this, and so it was decided that it's all going to get messed up and it's not going to last. It's going to get confused and everything's going to go off. So what came, I think, is Hillel, the Hillel HaKatan, meaning the smaller Hillel, not Hillel, the great Hillel in Shammai, but Hillel that came many years later in, I think it's the Amoraic period. If it's in 300s, it would have to be. And he established, I think it's very interestingly enough, in the year 358. And why that's interesting is that, and here's the thing that the most interesting. It says that this calendar they established, he had mathematical rules on how to make the new moon and when it's gonna renew every month, and with all the details and the what they call Male and Chaser and what they call the Sod HaIbur, the secret of intercalations, when to do a leap year. All those are mathematically defined, and what really caught my attention is they said that this calendar that we have now has been going since the 300s, and it is very precise, mathematically precise. It tells you when the new moon is, and when the holidays are, and we know exactly when Passover is, and we know when Sukkot is, and Shavuot. We know all of the holidays and Rosh Hashanah, and we know how to or when to intercalate it. I'm still trying to understand the science or the math behind that, which is called Sod HaIbur. There's a secret of how to intercalate, meaning to add an extra month to keep the year balanced, where Aviv is in springtime, or Nisan is in Aviv. And that's important because the Torah states in Exodus 12 that Chodesh Zilachem, Rosh Chodeshim, this month will be your first month, and it has to be in Aviv, in the spring. So with the lunar cycle, there's a drift, and every year it gets a little bit earlier, loses a few days, if you've noticed. And until the year before a leap year, you'll notice that everything is really, really early. Like you could have Passover even at the end of March. Because if we keep on going, it would drift into the winter. And that's how it is with the Islamic calendar. In fact, like certain months, they go throughout the calendar, they go throughout the seasons. So anyway, all that to say is that what was said was that this calendar was established by Hillel, the smaller, in 358, is going to be in effect until the Messiah comes. But what's interesting, if I remember correctly, and the year was 358, 358 is the numerical value of the Hebrew word Messiah, Mashiach, is equal to 358. So it's how significant is it is that in that year is when this calendar was established. That is the Hebrew calendar that we have today. So I thought to myself, if this is the calendar that will go until Mashiach comes, what kind of a calendar will we have when Mashiach comes? Will it be the same calendar? And all kinds of questions, like will there be a new order? There's all kinds of things that we take with a grain of salt, even though they're established within Chazal. They say, like, for example, that all of the holidays will be nullified except for Purim or something like that. What does that mean exactly? So, is it literal? Is it just figurative? Or what's the real... So, this calendar is basically about all these things that I mentioned up until now. So, usually I don't spend so much time talking about it, but I did mention that I started this calendar 12 years, almost 14 years ago. This September will be 14 years. And this is the last full season of this calendar, meaning its work is coming to completion in the springtime, late springtime of this year. God willing, meaning the Omer time. After Passover, counting of the Omer time will be the terminus of this work. It's not saying I'm going to check the calendar out. I'm going to say it reached its culmination, and we'll see what happens then. But I don't think I'll be making videos like this every day. I think the videos that I started making on this were started in Tammuz/July of 25 or 5785, and I made one every day since then until now, and that's going to go until after Passover, which will be like 9 months. It's basically one trimester short of a full year, and so this is it. The PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar, having applications in astrology, Soda Ibur, Metonic Cycle, times, seasons, the Jubilees, sabbatical years, ultimately the redemption. It's rooted in Parshas Bihar, appropriately so, because the word Geula and Goel, any variant of that, happens more in that parsha than any other portion in the Torah. It's all about redemption, that word redemption. This calendar is about that. And so today is the 28th day of Shvat. 28th day of Shvat, Yom Rishon, first day of the week, 20th day of Shvat of 5786, and 28th day of any month. Since it's you won't see names of months here. There's no names. It's only numbers. So you have to apply each set of 3 months, and you have to put them in the starting point, and then you'll know exactly where all the days fall out on based on the starting point. That's why you don't need names. You just need the number, and then it's automatically implied because everyone knows all the names by heart. All you have to do is plug it in and see where to go. So basically, it starts in this dispensation, in dispensation 3. Shvat is the starting point of the calendar. So it's Shvat, Adar, Nisan. So right now, 28th day of Shvat, or any 28th day in a fixed month, so it's Shvat or February or May or ER or August or Leo or Av. Av is the same. Like Leo is August and Av. The same with the signs of the others. And the last one is, of course, November /Cheshvan /Scorpio. Those are all the fixed months. So right now, we are in a winter fixed month, which is Shvat /February /Aquarius. And in Dispensation 3, according to the protocol of the PL-89, that's when the starting point, that's the Rosh Hashanah, as it were, of the cycle, of the Mercury year. So 38 will always be the number that any 28th day comes out in these months. So that's what. We have a lunar number of 38. Okay, that's great for the lunar number, but how about the sun? Okay, the sun is going to be. Today is February the 15th. The 15th day of any fixed month is always going to be on 7. So like on Tu B'Shvat was the 15th day. We were right here. Tu B'Av, last year, Tu B'Av in the summer, in late summer, in August, it was this year, August 9th, I think it was. Tu B'Av is going to be also here. Adding fixed month, so it's going to be 7. So the process is that 7 and 38 are added. What do you get? You get 45. Right? Right. So now you get 45, and you get you turn that into a word, 45. Forty, Five, and then you will get, I'll tell you what you get. Forty 5 is equal to 126. Okay, 126. What's 126? Check this one out. Manas Friedman, 126. Woody Allen, 126. Avraham Mashiach, 126. Seuss, 126. Almana, 126. Hamat Bea, 126. So basically, anything that equals 126, it looks very random. It looks chaotic. It's chaotic, but it's everything. That's why it's a theory of everything that's presented in calendar form.